Hey guys, this is your host Thomas Tyree here from On the Hot Podcast. Today, this will be episode 227 for you guys today. And to kick off this week's episode, I'll be sharing my game summary on the game that took place Sunday night between the Dallas Cowboys and the Green Bay Packers. So that instant classic that we seen Sunday night, there was not a winner and there was not a loser. The game ended in a tie with the Cowboys scoring 40 points and the Green Bay Packers also scoring 40 points at the end of overtime. So I'll be sharing my game summary on the game that took place Sunday night. Listen, guys, this game was an absolute cinema. I was there live in person to support my Dallas Cowboys for that Sunday night game. I mean, it was electrifying. And let me tell you guys, when I seen the Green Bay Packers go up 13-0, on a game that already wasn't promising for the Cowboys heading into the game after they got a BTA treatment to the Chicago Bears the week before that, my heart sunk to the bottom of my stomach because I thought it was going to be a blowout game. But you could tell the Cowboys, they gained confidence as the game went on. That blocked extra point kick that the Green Bay Packers attempted gave the Cowboys life as the game went on. And they never looked back. I mean, all the attention was on Micah Parsons returning to Dallas for his revenge game. But at the end of the day, it was the quarterbacks that stole the show. Dak Prescott and Jordan Love stole the show. Both of them threw for over 300-plus passing yards. Both of them had over three pass touchdowns. Dak had one rushing touchdown. Perfect passer ratings. I mean, we had instant classic offensive football for 5 NFL quarters. 80 combined total points in this ball game. The only thing that sucks about the game is there was no declared winner, and the game ended in a tie after 5 NFL quarters. I mean, you had stellar performances all over the board as well. At the wide receiver position, Romeo Doubs had a hat trick, scoring 3 touchdowns, unguardable against the Cowboys secondary. And George Pickens, how about him stepping up big time without CeeDee Lamb? The Cowboys' #1 wide receiver proved that he is still a true #1 wide receiver if needed in the NFL, scoring 2 touchdowns, had an outstanding performance, really stepped up while CeeDee Lamb was out of action. But guys, I got to say, if you love offensive football, if you love shootouts and you don't like defensive play, you don't like defensive games, this was your game Sunday night. And it's already in the conversation for being one of the best games of the NFL season after 4 weeks of action. I mean, both teams offensively as well, I want to add that in. Both teams ran the ball tremendously. Josh Jacobs had a good day in the office. Javonte Williams had a good day in the office. Both teams were firing on all cylinders in the trenches on their offensive line, for their offensive lines. The Cowboys had a really good job running the football against the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers did a really good job running the football against the Dallas Cowboys in the trenches. But I got to say, how this game played out, looking back at it, in overtime when the Packers were running the hurry up, in the final seconds, guys, I will tell you guys, because in Jerry's world, I was sitting in the visitors area, so I was surrounded by Packers fans. I will tell you guys, as the clock was ticking down, them Packers fans were shaking in their boots. They were afraid. They were wondering what the hell Matt LaFleur was doing as the time was going down, because they try to run a hurry up. They try to run the hurry up offense. You're down by 3, no timeouts. The time is ticking down. With T-minus 10 seconds on the clock, he tried to run one final play that could determine the game. They were 1 second away from having one of the worst clock management displays in recent memory in the NFL, because you want to play for the tie. Even though a tie isn't a win, it's better than a loss. And it'll really help you in the long run. It could help both teams in the long run as the NFC plays out as the season goes on. Rather than having a loss, it's going to be better to have a tie if you're the Green Bay Packers or the Dallas Cowboys. But as I digress, these Packers fans, they were really shaking in their boots. They were nervous, but they got lucky because there was 1 second left on the clock when that incomplete pass that Jordan Love tried to fire out in the end zone, in the red zone, it was incomplete. But Packers, with that 1 second, went ahead and kicked for the tie, and the ball game ended 40-40. But guys, let's talk more about these quarterbacks. I mean, Dak Prescott really stepped up on this Sunday night game, really for the Dallas Cowboys, and he was really the deciding factor that really kept them in this ball game, because as we know, the Dallas Cowboys defense is one of, if not the worst defense in the National Football League. I'll talk about more about that as the segment goes on. But Dak Prescott, guys, he had 319 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, a passer rating of 124.9 in this ball game. And Jordan Love stepped up as well. I want to give number 10 his credit as well for the Green Bay Packers. Had 337 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, a passer rating of 118.1. That is phenomenal play by both quarterbacks on a Sunday night that was all about Micah. All about Micah. These quarterbacks, Dak Prescott and Jordan Love, really dueled like we were seeing an epic quarterback duel back in the day of Peyton Manning and Tom Brady on Sunday Night Football. It was great action to see live in person. It was great for everybody that watched the game around the world. Now, I have another take about Micah Parsons. Now, this game was obviously all about Micah, but Micah, I want to know what the PFF looks at for grading at this point, because how did Micah get a 94.2 grade and was viewed as the best player around the NFL in week 4? I'm not buying into that. And this is where my point comes in right here. I felt like Micah and the Cowboys were missing each other during this game, if that makes sense for you guys. Because Micah looked out of place during this game, and he was not a huge difference maker for the Green Bay Packers defense. What made Micah special in Dallas is obviously his playability, being a wrecking ball, being a game changer, yes. But the fact that Micah is very smart to communicate with his defensive linemen for them to stop the run, or for other pass rushers to get theirs and generate and create sacks as well, I didn't really see that out of the Green Bay Packers defensive line, and I didn't see that really out of Micah. I want to give the Dallas Cowboys credit for what they did. Yes, Micah was getting held on plays, yes. But guys, it happened when he had the star on his helmet, and nobody really gave a damn when that happened. So it happens in the NFL, especially for the best pass rushers. He was getting double teamed, and in my opinion, he wasn't really a big difference maker other than that overtime sack that he had on Dak Prescott. I think that was a pity sack. But as I digress, the Cowboys were missing Micah Parsons as well during this game. Again, Micah always communicated with the defensive line for the Dallas Cowboys to stop the run or get the sacks. One more sack, one more turnover, one more defensive stop would have won the game for the Dallas Cowboys. In a really tight game, you just needed one difference maker on the defensive side of the ball. We lacked that in big, crucial moments in this game against the Green Bay Packers, because if the defense did their damn job, the Dallas Cowboys would be 2-2 instead of 1-2-1. So I want to say that was a big thing to me. And it's a shame also, talking about the Cowboys, that they have the number 1 offense in football. They've been tremendous for the first 4 weeks of football, but they have the worst defense in the league. Giving up 420 yards per game is unacceptable on the defensive side of the ball at the National Football League level. So it's very unfortunate that we're seeing this. And I want to say something too. Matt Eberflus for the defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys, his scheme needs to be talked about more. I think Matt Eberflus, his scheme needs to be talked about more, and it's proven to me and several Dallas Cowboys fans that he might not be the guy for the job as our defensive coordinator. Because, yes, Micah is no longer there. We all know that. But as a defensive coordinator, it's your job to figure out what schemes work for your defense. In person, watching this defense at the Packers game, we should have won this game. All we needed was one more turnover, one more sack, one more defensive stop. But you let the Packers go down the field with 43 seconds left with 3 timeouts to force the game into overtime. You let them convert on 4th and 7 in overtime deep into the Dallas Cowboys territory with no defensive stops. This is a problem because Matt Eberflus' scheme, he has his players, he only rushes 4 pass rushers and lets the secondary play in zone most of the game, which is a problem because every quarterback other than Jalen Hurts has dotted us up this year. Russell Wilson, who is no longer a starter, dotted us up and had his best game up to date since he was a Seattle Seahawk. Caleb Williams had his best game against us in his NFL career. Jordan Love just had one of the best games of his NFL career against us. And you're giving up 40 points again, or nearly 40 points in the first game at home, then 40 points in this overtime tie. I think Matt Eberflus needs to gamble more, take more risk with his pass rushers, blitz more, trust the secondary to play more man-to-man coverage. And this is why quarterbacks are lining this up like a Christmas tree. You're playing zone with Trayvon Diggs, who's not 100% healthy, on a pitch count. You're playing zone with DeRon Bland, who just came back, is not 100% on a pitch count. So you got to trust in your defensive players to take more risk and blitz more. And I think we should do that against opposing quarterbacks that we're going to play this week, like Justin Fields. And then the following week, we play the Carolina Panthers and Bryce Young. No disrespect to them. They're not the best quarterbacks in the league. But try some things out. Blitz more this week. Play more man-to-man coverage. Figure out ways that you can be better defensively, because if you continue to play zone all game long, you're just giving, with only rushing 4, you're giving more time for the quarterbacks to drop back in the pocket, dot you up, and you're asking Dak Prescott and the offense to be picture perfect as the game goes on. That's not a winning formula for the Dallas Cowboys, and it won't be if they have true championship aspirations this year. At least playoff contention this year. Want to be a playoff contending team. But if we don't see any changes defensively, like I said, we're not going to be a playoff team. We'll be the Cincinnati Bengals of the NFC with a healthy Joe Burrow. It's with a healthy Dak Prescott. And we got the offensive weapons. And I told people before the season started, I said that Brian Schottenheimer, I wasn't a fan of the hire, but I said this hire is going to be good for Dallas because Brian Schottenheimer watched what Dak Prescott likes to do for 2 years. Even though he wasn't the play caller, Mike McCarthy was, he's still seen that Dak Prescott thrives when the running game is going. He thrives when he can run play action looks. He thrives when we have a strong offensive line for him. He was there on the sidelines to watch firsthand Dak Prescott's best NFL career year in 2023 when he should have won the MVP over Lamar Jackson that year. But I will say that I think this team has potential at 1-2-1 rather than being 1-3 and playing catch up in the NFC. I think the defense just has to be much better. I don't think it's appropriate to spend one of those first-round picks on a defensive player this year. You might as well just play with what you got. And look forward to the 2026 draft where you have 2 first-round picks where you should go all defense for most of the draft next year. But I think this team can compete if the defense locks in. Doesn't have to be perfect, but if they can play much better than what they've been, I think the sky's the limit for this team to be at least a contending playoff team in the NFC. But to the Green Bay Packers, I think they're still a phenomenal team. Clearly still a top 6 team in the NFC. They sit at 2-1-1. They still have a really good defense. And I think if things go well for them, they continue to play their type of ball, they're going to be a heavyweight contender still in the NFC for being a playoff team or possibly being a Super Bowl caliber team. But I think both teams are going to be in good shape moving forward. That is my Dallas Cowboys versus Green Bay Packers game summary.